Orientation is lock, rotate back.
I hate it when it does this.
What's the problem?
Says orientation is lock, rotate back.
I hate it when it won't let me do what I want to do. It's gonna make me do what it wants me to do.
It looks like you.
Let's see if it'll correct itself. No, it's not.
Do you have it? If you go to the, you want me to help?
Sure.
Oh, you went to the settings. Yeah, but you can see if you can make it do it. It's live.
Hey guys, please hold technical difficulties.
Stay tuned. Dun, dun, dun.
What is this, YouTube?
Yeah.
I just looked like you did. Oh my gosh. Turn the camera off.
No.
We'll edit it. No, it's just for right now.
Oh, you can't turn it off.
I just did.
It'll cancel the stream.
It's just off for a second.
Oh, okay.
Camera flipped. I don't know about nothing about the YouTubes.
But the YouTubes. Let's do it this way. Let's do this. And let's do this.
YouTube, what's up? Why are you tripping? Hey, sorry for the delays. Well, I guess we got to do it this way. We just put it this way. Okay. So we're going to have so much ceiling. Well, we have to go live this way. And so we're going to have to get closer so we can do this. You got it recorded that way, babe?
Yeah, hold on. Just get this one first.
Okay.
You got to come in.
I'll
you
come
good.
in.
You good.
Okay.
You
Dun,
good.
dun, dun.
All right.
I didn't realize we're matching.
Yes, we are. So,
Coordination.
hey, it's Renee and Gil.
From the RICH Relationship Refuge, and we are beyond excited this time because we got a special guest that y'all have never seen, never met, don't even know. We're going to introduce her in a second, but first we got, excuse me, dear.
I'm a figment of your imagination.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kidding. That's how I got here, y'all.
That's how she got here. That's what we were going to say. That's how she got here.
Yep, my name is Renee.
And I'm Gil from the RICH Relationship Refuge, and this is...
AJ from the Local Tourist Craze. I'm just kidding. I'm their kid.
Yeah, she's our kid.
She is our amazing daughter who is visiting us here. She'll be headed out of town tomorrow. So we actually, I won't say we conned her into it. We asked her to join us for this episode of this live session. Normally, you guys know Renee decided to move it from the weekend, from Saturday
now to
Monday.
Mondays.
So we are...
Turn the screen a little bit that way so we don't have so much head space.
I got a big head, so it's got to be in front.
No, so much ceiling. Yeah.
How about I move it up?
Just so much ceiling.
You're going to see more of us.
There you go. Turn Aaron in some more. Okay, guys. Okay, there we go. So today's episode, we said that it was a game. But trust me, this episode is
we trying to squeeze into this little frame.
We're trying to get closer so we're all in here.
All right.
So this episode is not a game, but what if we could take something that's really hard, that we struggle with as humans, because we have gotten a lot of feedback from the episode that we did before about setting boundaries or holding grudges. And the response we kept getting was, man, that forgiveness thing is hard. So we're going to turn forgiveness not into a game, because it's not a game, but we're going to give you some steps, and we're going to show you how to work through forgiveness in a fun way, because it's a heavy topic, and we don't know what each other are going to write, but we're going to all write down something that we want. Aaron is laughing. AJ is laughing.
We got to keep it light, y'all. We got to keep it light.
Okay, so we are going to write down something that we want to forgive someone for, and something we want somebody else to forgive us for. And we have not done this, because you see the papers, they're blank. And so if you're watching this now, or if you're watching when it's recorded, get a piece of paper, get an ink pen, and we want you to join.
This is live, so
we want you to join in this
okay. I use my
process.
phone.
So we're gonna
Yeah, and
Yes.
and one thing I wanted to say before we jump in and get started, because when it comes to forgiveness, you have to think about it from biblically, emotionally, and practically. Because when you are thinking about it just from one of those perspectives, you're going to miss some things.
Yes.
And sometimes those things left unresolved and those things keep resurfacing. So if you find that they keep coming back over and over and over again, you have to look at it from a different perspective. And maybe that's what we're trying to do and give you. And Aaron, AJ, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
AJ,
It's been 34 years, y'all.
by all means to jump in here and say and comment, especially from your perspective, because what we try to do is you guys have seen us constantly, and we are thankful that she's here now because she can give a different perspective, and maybe even not from our vantage point, but just from someone who's a little bit younger, who's done it different.
the millennials in the house.
Yeah, no, do it, Dad, do it.
Who's done certain things and had certain aspects of her own life that she wants to relay and talk about it from her perspective. So that's why we're thankful that she's here and decided to join
And we
us for
didn't
this.
bribe her or force her or twist her arm, and we don't have any weapons pointed towards her. She's doing this of her own free will. And so
Yes.
we thank you
Yes.
for participating.
So when you think about that, so when it comes to any of the things, I got multiple cameras going here, y'all, and I'm trying to keep it all straight.
Oh, I didn't even realize you.
Yeah, we shooting from multiple angles
Y'all don't
here.
play with my pops. He really one of them.
We try to do it from different perspectives and different things. But as we get into this, we want to just share with you some of the things when it comes to forgiveness, and we are going to jump into it because while this is not a game, it is a serious topic, because we know and we've seen it in the comments that a lot of people struggle with forgiveness.
There you go.
Yeah, we just gonna have to get tight, y'all.
There you go. Now we all in here.
That people struggle with forgiveness and they may not know why, and that's what we want to do just from a practical side, just share some of the things with you that we are doing and that we are actually going to practice here to give you a real life example of what's going on in the heart and in the mind of real people who come on. And even though we talk about relationships, I believe this is a big topic in relationships that can hinder growth, because we know when it comes to different aspects of growth in your relationship, you have to always be doing the inward journal. You have to always be taking that journey inside of yourself to say, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? And how can I get better at whatever aspect you are, whether you're the boyfriend, the girlfriend, the husband, the wife, or the partner, or even just dating, if you're, especially if you're seriously dating. So that's what we're going to talk about. So the first exercise that we're going to go into is to talk about just writing it down. Why do you think it's important to write things down? Either one of y'all can share.
Well, journaling is a part of therapy. We were talking about this in our generation. We believed in church that you got to go through deliverance. You got to get delivered. Well, part of deliverance in this day and age is to go to therapy, and a part of a healthy therapy practice is journaling. And so when you write things down, you have a way to think about it and to keep a record of it and to just put it on paper.
And not only are we writing it down, go ahead.
No,
AJ.
it's okay.
Not only are we writing it down, we're actually going to share this with you, what we're writing down. And that's where the accountability comes in, because it's important to have accountability partners and somebody that you can be accountable to, because if you're not accountable to someone, if you don't have a significant other, you have a bestie, best girlfriend, best boyfriend, whoever, that's the person that you want to bring
Or
into
best
this circle,
parents.
or
What about
even
your friends
parents.
could be your
Yeah.
parents?
So AJ, you were going to say something, but go ahead.
I know for me, I'm not going to lie to y'all about the verse, but the Bible says, write it down and keep it plain or make it plain. So for me, because I'm such a creative and I'm like a mix between both of my parents, and my brain just be like, it helps me to write it down. One, to stay focused, but two, to kind of like stay in tune and in alignment with my goals. So I write stuff down a lot. Now they're a little old, so I'll be using my iPad, but I'm in their house, so we're gonna keep it traditional.
Yes.
Pen and paper.
Yes. Pen and paper.
So on that aspect, if you want to go state of the art and do it on your iPad or your
Well, there's a reason why we're going to write it on paper.
go ahead.
Keep it on that phone.
Yeah, the reason why the reason why we're going to write it down, because we're going to do something with this afterwards, that you can't do with a phone or with a tablet.
Oh, my bad, y'all.
Okay.
So for
The
this,
woman with the plan. My bad,
so
my
for this
bad.
exercise, you want to use traditional paper and pen, and you'll see why once we get to the end.
So, what was the first thing we had to write down and go through on this particular exercise? We're going to cover five different areas during this live
steps.
sessions.
Five
And we're going to
steps.
break them down for you. The first one is to write it down about
Something you want to forgive someone for, and something you want someone to forgive you for.
So the white paper, we just use white and brown because that's what we had at the house.
Yes.
So the brown paper is to be forgiven for.
Right.
Okay. So write it down, write it in your iPad, do whatever you got to do. Take a minute. If you don't have nothing right around, or even just go ahead and jot it
Old
down.
glasses. I ain't trying to be funny.
Yeah.
I just can barely see.
That's okay. We're gonna write it down.
Okay, we're doing brown first.
Brown first is something you want someone to forgive you for.
You for
I want
something that I want to be given for. And this is where that, and while they writing down or even thinking about it, this is where that inward journaling comes from, where sometimes it's easy to point out offenses that have happened to you. But sometimes you have to say, you know what did I do, whether it's today, last week, last month, that I have to think about, do I need to be forgiven for something? Maybe I said something, maybe I didn't do something quite the right way. Maybe I didn't tell the whole story. Maybe I didn't talk to someone the right way or even interact with someone the right way. These are just daily things. But if you have something that's a little bit deeper, you can write that down. You don't have to share it with us, but we think it's important for you to actually share it. Hey, so as we're talking here, is that Eliana? I think that's Eliana. So we appreciate you joining us. If I mispronounced your name, I'm sorry. We're talking about forgiveness and being forgiven on this episode of the Rich Relationship live session. Okay. While they writing down, y'all can comment and y'all talk to them while I write my part down.
Okay.
I wrote mine down already. My hand cramped
Oh, wow.
because I'm used to typing.
It's okay. So I wrote down the thing. So we're gonna write them all down. So I'm gonna write. So we write down something you want to be forgiven for.
All right, what's yours, Mom?
And so mine was for failing as a mom, a friend, and as a sister. That's
Okay.
what I want forgiveness for.
Okay. You want me to share mine?
Yeah.
Mine is right message, wrong delivery. So y'all just meeting me. I'm a little crab. I'm a Cancer, like my pops. You feel me? I be pinching folks. I don't be meaning to. So sometimes my message is right, but my delivery is wrong. So that's something I work on. Because whenever you deliver the message wrong, it is not always received.
And I'm thankful to share that. And mine is actually two. I got some things. One, you always can be. We had even a conversation, and like we said, AJ just said at the very beginning, we like to be real. We had a conversation this weekend during Aaron's visit that I think was very beneficial for all of us as a family. And sometimes you think you got it all together, even as a mom or as a dad, and sometimes you don't.
Or a daughter.
And
or
when-
a son. Or a kid. Whatever you identify as.
And when you have to do that inward journaling and talk about it to the person that you're in relationship with, it can be hard sometimes.
Yeah.
So mine is about failures that I've done and I've had as a dad towards AJ. And then the other one that really came out for me was being standby, where I'm not as involved or not as attentive as I could be to my family. There are times where as a husband and as a dad that you can be the provider. You're always doing the best things that you can do to provide for your family. And you can have that stuff down pat. You can provide them with the house, the food, the clothes, all those things. But if you're absentee from an emotional and a mental perspective, that can be challenging. And from your child's perspective. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that was great delivered. That's something that one of my friends and I were just talking about today because his dad is very similar to my dad. Part of it is, one, just being a brown person in America is hard sometimes.
People of color.
But also
Yeah.
because my dad was in the military, his dad was in the military too. So there was a lot of perspectives because you're taught to provide, don't cry, it's not that serious, take care of your people, take care of your family.
Suck it up.
Yeah, and you're still human. So I that's true. But also, You're a pretty good dad.
I appreciate that. And
Just Monday through Friday.
All the days to end with Y?
wait, let me write that down. But did you say yours, babe?
Yeah, I said.
Oh,
Okay.
wait. What about Saturday and Sunday? My bad. 7 days a week, y'all.
I'm
7 days
just
a
saying.
week.
I'm
7
just
days
saying.
a week.
We trying. We trying.
No, you're not trying.
And why is that important that you share those things with the people you're in relationship with? What would y'all say to that part?
Yeah, I think that you can't change what you don't know, but I think even just the part of slowing down, the reason why slowing down and writing it down is because if you give too many things at one time, it can get real muddy. And so when you slow down and write down just maybe one or two things, it makes it easy for the person to process and for you to kind of work through that one thing. Because when you have like 5 things, it can get real muddy and you lose track of it.
Go ahead.
I think, to answer your question, that I think something that I had to understand, like as I grow and evolve and get older, you can't be mad at people for doing things that you don't communicate to them that you're mad about.
Yeah.
So it's like, just like Mom was just saying, sometimes it gets muddy, and that's true. But also, pyramids were built with mud. So sometimes muddy is okay. But right message, wrong delivery.
Right.
So you build things one thing at a time. So I think to answer the question, the reason why it's important to kind of talk about those things is, from my perspective, if you're not communicating to the people that you want relationships with, your boundaries, the things you need, and then they're not providing it, you're responsible for communicating what you need.
Right.
Now, once you communicate what you need, if those people are not, adhering to it or achieving it or they're not capable of it, then maybe it's not compatible or it's not necessary, but you have to communicate. So,
And that's good, because we're talking about from the practical side, and we even talked about it from the emotional side. So we're just giving you some physical context for what this actually looked like in a real type relationship. And we're being real. This is not rehearsed. This is not
No.
pre-talked
No
about.
one knew.
I'm eating nice, y'all.
This is all brand new to each of us, even though we had a conversation about it.
We didn't know what the other person, we
Yeah.
didn't know. We intentionally didn't do that because the only way you can really help people is if you're being honest and being yourself. And there's more power in you sharing your story than just sharing what's in a book or that you rehearsed.
Right. And I love, and so from a biblical perspective, depending on where you live and how you live your life, we try to live it as from a biblical perspective. Ephesians 4:32 tells us that we gotta forgive. You have to forgive one another just like God has forgiven us, because if you're holding an ought against your brother, what does the Bible tell you to do? To go to him. To go to them and talk to them and tell them what's going on with you from your perspective. We always talk, and we talk to our couples, and even this will work even in a practical sense in any relationship that you have. You're the one with the problem. And sometimes this other person can be totally unaware that there is a problem. And if you are not conscious of it enough to say, you know what, when somebody comes to you and say, or you have something against your brother or your sister, your son, your daughter, your mom, your dad, and say, hey, I have a problem. This is what is going on with me. And you have to be willing to say, you know what? Know that right now that forgiveness has to be a part of that equation, even before you get to that point. Sometimes you want to hold a grudge. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit.
That was just last
Yeah. Well, we talked about it last week. Those grudges are things that can be big barriers to advancement in your relationship.
and it's important to have hot communication. What hot?
Honest, open, and transparent.
What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? Spell it out.
That's okay. So y'all have known them for a couple years. I've known them for 34. So
Y'all believe she's
I got-
34?
you know,
We have a 34-year-old child.
y'all. It's only been a couple days. I just turned 34.
You just turned 34, like in days.
But so like all the quotes that you guys share on social media is something that like I literally use to this day as an adult, and just navigating platonic relationships, romantic relationships, situationship. No, sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Okay.
single, y'all.
Yeah.
But honest, open, and transparent communication. The way I interpret it is,
Yeah, tell us from a younger crowd perspective.
yeah,
From not from some old heads. But I still think it means the same thing.
I think so. I think with the honesty part, it's you ain't got a lot to kick it. If it's someone that you really care about, you really want to be in a relationship with, they should be able to accept you wholeheartedly. So being completely honest is the only way that you're going to be able to navigate a resolve and forward. Open means we don't have any limits. Like, yeah, and I know y'all know this. Sometimes I'll be sharing too much. I talk to them about everything because one, I have a dad, so I get the male's perspective, and then I have a mom, so I get the female perspective. But having honest and open communication means you trust each other enough to talk about any and everything and know that you're not going to be judged or mistreated or misused. And then transparent means, again, you ain't got a lot to kick it. It's not, we're talking about this to the capacity of how it's going to make everyone feel good. It's about improving and growing and being better. That's how I interpret it.
Nice.
That's the same thing you do?
Yeah.
On the same page.
Alright.
So, millennials hear it the same way. It's the same thing.
Yeah, we just deliver it different.
So what was the other one now that we got to
So
write
we
down?
wrote
So
down what
we
we
gave you the
did.
practical about, that's the self-discovery that
Yeah,
you've done.
Looking at yourself.
Yep.
So we have to understand that forgiveness
Oh, okay,
is
wait.
twofold. You need to ask for forgiveness and you need to give forgiveness. So this was something that you want to be forgiven for. So now you write down something that you need to forgive. So what is something you need to forgive? It could be something that is really hard for you to forgive, something that's really easy for you to give. So you're going to always realize that in any time you're doing any type of work or any type of transformation, it starts with you forgiving
Thanks.
and being forgiven.
Right.
So it's not just that you need to forgive, you need to be forgiven as well.
Oh, my bad.
No, you gotta
this
be
is-
staying sharp. That's okay.
This
That's
is,
all right.
So this is basically, you already wrote down what you want to be forgiven for, and then you write down what you need to forgive.
So I did write something, as you can tell.
Oh,
Yes.
You probably can't read my chicken scratch, but that's all right. But and I'll share while they're writing. I can go
Side
ahead.
note, when I was a kid, I perfected my dad's signature.
That's for something
You
she
should not
needs.
share that
So she
publicly.
should go ahead
I
and
need
say
to
that.
be forgiven for forging my daddy's signature that one time when I didn't get a good grade in my. Anyway, it's good signature. It looks like a celebrity.
It's about being exposed.
That's how I know he a spy.
Anyway, so
I'm kidding, y'all. He's not a spy.
so I'm gonna start out with mine. You know, I won't say it's a story that goes along with it.
Sure.
Anybody ever been betrayed by friends? Or have you ever had a situation where you were the last to know something that related to you? Well, I harbored a lot of unforgiveness for a long time to a few friends of mine because, and this is BR, this is before Renee.
Well, I was a part of it, but I wasn't a part of the
BR is
problem.
crazy.
This is a little bit BR, where I was dating and had been in a relationship with someone for a while, and we had broken up, which was not a problem. Me and Renee were together, but we had broken up with this person, and that person actually started dating somebody that I was close to, a friend.
Oh, she's trying to get her get that.
And nobody thought it would be okay to tell me. Not that they needed my permission,
Let you know.
but it just be a nice to know, you know. And this is a close friend, and
Is it who I
getting
think
with
it
your,
is?
Yeah,
we
girl,
can
you
we
know
can
the-
talk.
I'm not gonna say the
we
name,
can talk
but I think
off
I know
camera.
who it is.
Yeah, we'll
Okay,
talk off
okay.
camera. So we'll
I'm
talk.
not
We'll
gonna
talk.
say. I know.
Yeah, we ain't gonna let you no names because I forgiven them. But
Yeah.
but I had felt betrayed, not just by the two people that were involved, but by the whole crew. You have a crew. You have a crew of friends that you have that are in your nucleus that you.
The inner
But
circle.
your
Shout out
inner
to the
circle
tribe.
that everybody knows, but you don't. And this is somebody that I was dating, and then all of a sudden they were in a relationship with each other, which was cool. I didn't have a problem with that. But the problem that I had was nobody thought enough of me to say, hey, we're dating. Not that they had to ask for permission, but just to let me know.
Yeah.
You know, just to say,
So
hey.
you weren't blindsided.
Yeah, not blindsided. And that was something that was a little bit hard.
I know who y'all are.
And then the other one,
Kidding.
and then the other one was the lot of years that I carry unforgiveness for my pops, for not being involved and not being there, and broken promises, where it was a lot of years that we even had separation of relationship to the point that it was just built on top of each other, all these different things and scenarios that happened that said, you know what, this person didn't honor and do what they were supposed to do as a dad, and left me hanging more times than I could count. You think that builds up a little bit of resentment or unforgiveness? Yeah, it did. And that lasted for a lot of years. But once I gave my life to Christ in Matthew 6:14 and 15, forgive those who sin against you. That's hard. When you have to forgive someone who knowingly did something against you, because once I gave my life to Christ, it's like a whole different space in my heart opened up to where it was like, I have to be able to forgive these other people who offended me because God has forgiven me. That was hard, y'all.
Yeah.
You don't forget, and it still resonates with you, and you don't forget those things. So that's mine.
Yeah, yeah. And so I'm going to share mine. I'll share mine. My hardest thing to forgive was my mom. And it was because I felt
No, I'm good.
like
Gotta give me a shot.
Oh, I'm okay.
Okay.
So, was forgiving my mom. And the reason why that was so hard was because, one, I was a kid. And I took a lot of things personal that she did. And I thought that she was doing it against me. And it really wasn't that she was doing it against me. And the people who led me to Christ explained to me that when people are hurt, they hurt you. And that the things that my mom was doing was not because she didn't love me or because she was a bad mom. It's because she was hurt. And then as time went on, and I had literally just given my heart to the Lord. And that's one of the things that the person that led me to Christ explained to me. God can't forgive you if you can't forgive your mom. And so for me, my first lesson, I was saying this earlier and I was talking about it. My first lesson, if I had to only teach people one thing, and I think this has brought so much freedom, is to be able to forgive, not because people deserve it, not because you are perfect, but you forgive because you've been forgiven. And for me, forgiving my mom was probably the best thing I ever did, because I used to always refer to her as the bee that provided the egg. I had a lot of hatred towards her, but I wasn't hurting her, I was hurting me. And so when God forgave me, it changed, the same like what Gil was saying, it made me realize, I read a scripture that says, when the people crucified Christ on the cross, he said, forgive them because they don't know what they're doing. And that became my mindset. Instead of charging it to they're doing this because they want to hurt me. And they're doing it because they're mean. They're doing it because they're human. They're doing it because they're hurt. And so that helped me to understand that I'm going to forgive because I am forgiven.
Right.
What forgiveness does not mean, and I've said it over and over and over and a million times before, forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. Forgiveness does not mean that they were right and you were wrong. Forgiveness does not mean that the relationship is going to go back to the way it was. Forgiveness is you. It takes you to just say, I give up the right to give you a consequence for what you did, because I don't want to sit in the seat of being God, because only God can give judgment and consequences for our behavior. And so for me, my hardest thing to learn to forgive was my mom. But once I learned to forgive her, it made it easier for me to understand that forgiveness is a daily, ongoing process. You don't just forgive one time. We're going to be learning how to practice forgiveness every single day, every minute of every day. And so the quicker you learn that, okay, my first response should be to forgive, it makes life a whole lot easier.
So we appreciate you guys hanging out with AJ, Renee, and Gil from the RICH Relationship Refuge. We're talking about forgiveness tonight. And before AJ jumps in with hers, that we just want to say thank you for
watching us, being with us.
We always say your investment in time, because we appreciate you guys. CJ, I see that right there. I see you. Love you two guys. We appreciate you guys just hanging out with us, not because we just doing this just to be talking, because we get responses from people in the comments constantly about how something that we talked about resonated with them and it helped them. That's why we doing this.
Yeah.
That's the only reason, because we could just stick to our own little relationships and just our own little world, but the world is bigger than just our home and our family. It's bigger than that. And if you can help someone get better at being in relationship, by all means, do it.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
Sure.
So, AJ, what you got?
First, I want to forgive my niece for hurting this guy. I'm too young for this. But in all seriousness, mine is that I'm old, okay?
You are not old.
I'm 34, y'all.
Oh,
You're
okay.
not old.
Mine is toxic masculinity. And let me explain.
Okay.
Y'all are just meeting me, so I've always worked in like very male-dominated industries. I'm a truck driver. Before I was a truck driver, I worked in the restaurant industry. And so something that I've had to work really, really hard on forgiving, and that's not like to put a gender on it. It's just seeing people that don't look like you and assuming they can't do what you do. You know, I'm cute or whatever, thanks to y'all. So people see me and they just assume that I'm like this weak.
Put it in the comments, y'all.
50-50, you know?
No. I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. That needed a pause. Like, hello. Okay, sorry. But like just understanding that just because people judge you don't mean you have to be judgeful, but being forgiving of that and not always leading. Because I was a military brat, because we moved so much, I was always the new kid. That was my defense mechanism, all the things. Learning that I don't always have to like pinch, like I said earlier. Pinchers be boy. But like just forgiving the fact that just because I'm judged doesn't mean I have to do it. And so when I say toxic masculinity, I just mean assuming because there's someone that's different from you, whether it's male, female, non-binary, whatever you identify as, that doesn't mean they can't do what you do. Even if they're, you know, not able-bodied, like anything, just because they don't look like you or they don't look like what the status quo of that situation is, doesn't mean they're not able and not capable. So that's something I've had to forgive, because being a truck driver in these streets, it's hard work, y'all.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that goes into having preconceived notions or ideas about someone, that before you meet them, you automatically kind of have your dukes up, or as you say, your pinchers out?
Dukes and pictures. I'm with it.
Yeah.
And
And
so
so-
yes, for sure.
And so if you put forgiveness in your toolbox, how is that going to change how you deal with someone who is?
Well, I always forgive because that's what you guys raised me to do. And that's what my creator has taught me to do. Meaning God, just saying. But I also, and this is something that we all three talk about a lot. One thing that I am like navigating through is forgiving. And this kind of segues into like the resentment, I think. And not holding a grudge about it. Because I have this motto, I forgive, but I don't forget. Now, because I lead with forgiveness, I do my best to kind of navigate and not assume the same scenarios are going to happen again.
Right.
However, if you're bleeding and somebody cut you, it can heal. But if there's a scar there, you have to make sure you're not leading with, oh, you made me bleed that last time. You have to kind of forgive them. It's okay to be a little more cautious, but not lead with the mindset of like you're still bleeding. I don't know if that answers.
You know, it does. It does. It kind of reminds you in the scripture of Colossians 3:13 that says, make allowances for others' faults. Sometimes people can go through things and do things, and they may not even be consciously aware that they're actually doing it, whether it's toxic masculinity or it's
not being, or operating from your pain, from your hurt.
pain from your past, or even because we tend to go into a defense mechanism when you're in a painful situation or you experienced a painful situation. You automatically are going to have your dukes up or be in protection mode if you start seeing semblances or resemble things that you've seen and experienced in the past. You're going to already go into it with a preconceived idea that this person or this situation is going to hurt me, or it's going to be a repeat of something that I've experienced before.
Yeah. And that's what leading with, and see, that's when we talk about a trauma response is, well, you kicked me, so every time you walk past me, I'm going to move my leg. And so it's understanding that you kicked me, and I have to understand that I'm not going to move my leg, but I'm going to reposition, because reaction is I'm going to do what I did. I'm going to react to you like you're going to do what you did before.
Right.
But a healthier way to deal with that is to realize that you may do it again. And I'm not talking about unhealthy, where I'm not talking about abuse. I'm not talking about verbal abuse, physical abuse. I'm talking about sometimes people do things not because it's intentional, it's because they're hurt. And it's understanding that, give me an opportunity to show you something different, but also understand that I'm still learning. And I love when you said that, Aaron. It's like people are still learning. And so we have to lead, like Colossians says, to lead with an understanding that people are still trying to get it. It's something new. I was talking to a friend of mine, as you was talking about, I'm learning to use my voice. And if anybody has ever been the kind of person where you didn't speak up or you didn't set boundaries in the beginning, when you're first learning how to use something new, sometimes your volume might be too loud. You know, you're just learning how to forgive. You might forgive over to an extreme. And so it's learning how to do things in a way where it's healthy for you and it's healthy for the people that you're in a relationship with. Because for me, when I thought forgiveness meant, oh, I just forgive everybody and I treat them based on how I am. No, forgiveness is not that you ignore that this person has hurt me before and they're more likely to hurt me again. But it's just understanding that depending on the level of the hurt determines how much grace you want to give them.
What experiences for forgiveness have you been going through? Put it in the chat. If there's something that you want to share, by all means, say, hey, you know what? I'm struggling in this particular area about forgiving whatever it may be, a person, a situation, a circumstance, or
Yourself?
something like that. Yourself. That's a good one. You want to talk something about
Yeah.
that? You want to talk something about that? About forgiveness of yourself?
Yeah. You want to go first, Mama?
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's been the hardest thing to forgive. That's something that I've learned, as I like said earlier, through navigation of evolution and growing and becoming.
And you believe in
older.
therapy.
Oh yeah, what?
Therapy.
I wouldn't be
we
here
all
without
believe in
therapy.
therapy. We all believe in therapy.
But yeah, I think in order for you to be able to forgive others, you have to forgive yourself first. And that's something that I had to do in the beginning. Because sometimes you'll blame yourself for something that someone else did. And while, yes, you still have to hold yourself accountable and be self-aware and be able to take, what you did, because there's three sides to every situation. It's something we were just talking about. It's your perspective, the other person's perspective, and then what actually happened. So being able to forgive myself first in order to say, okay, this is what I did the first time that didn't work, or this is how I could have communicated better, or vocalized my needs, or vocalized boundaries. And then being able to forgive, okay, well, you didn't communicate that, so you can't expect those people to, oh, my bad.
No,
I'm just sitting
you're
a little,
fine. You're fine.
I'll be sitting like
You're
four.
fine. Now, I want you to come.
There you go.
But yeah, I think forgiveness of self is very important. I think to segue, Shadi, into what you said about the kick thing.
Moving your leg if you feel like you're going to get kicked.
Yeah,
again.
and I don't think that's necessarily always wrong. I think what would be wrong is to move your leg and be like, why were you going to kick me?
Right.
Because it's a natural reaction. Like if you get hit in the face, like, okay, example, I cut my finger, right? And now anytime I use a spoon and a can, I get like a little knot in my stomach.
Yeah.
Which
a
is
trauma response.
Yes. Now anytime I saw my mom or my dad with a spoon in the can, I'm like, no, don't do that.
Don't.
That's dramatic.
Right.
That's different. But it's normal to kind of move your leg. It's the reaction you have after you move your leg.
Right.
That I think is
Yeah,
important.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Because then it's affecting other people as well.
So I'm going to ask you this one question and you elaborate on it. And then I'm going to pass this around. You get to ask a question to either one of us off of this. This is called your forgiveness filter. And that kind of feeds into this one. And the first question that I got for you is talk and elaborate a little bit about forgiveness being a decision and not a feeling. Forgiveness being a decision and not a feeling.
This is step 3.
This
of
is part
the
3.
Forgiveness journey or path.
You can even answer that. Put it in the chat. You can want to put something or make a comment about it. Forgiveness is a decision and not a feeling.
I agree. I would like to challenge that a little bit.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Talk about it.
I think forgiveness is a decision. It's something you have to do. I think as humans, feelings are normal and natural. I think it's important to navigate a balance between the decision of forgiving, and then the feeling that happens. Like if you are making the decision to forgive and you have moments of feeling like you don't want to, or you're regretting it, or resentment, checking yourself and self-regulating.
Good.
So I agree. Forgiveness is a decision and not a feeling. But I would like to say forgiveness is a decision and a feeling, because you have to have balance in everything.
So I'll elaborate on this one, and then you can ask this. I'll elaborate just one comment on that is feelings follow what you meditate on.
Yes, they do.
That's good.
When you start thinking about, I need to forgive this person about what they're going through or what they've done to me or that I've done to them, that's a feeling. That's a thought that happens in your mind. When you start meditating on it and you make a decision that I'm going to forgive this person, of the ought that they had against me. It takes some time. I'm not saying that it's instantaneous, but I believe your feelings are going to follow afterwards. you know, but if you're led by your feelings from the very beginning and you haven't really processed it, I'm a processor. When things happen, I have to think about it and mull it over and things like that to make sure I'm clear about what is it I'm forgiving this person for. You know, being able to, because if not, you're going to focus on symptoms. You're going to focus on things that have nothing to do with the offense, or that you're holding an ought, or you holding forgiveness against this person, unforgiveness against this person for. So that's just my thought, and I'll share. If you got some thoughts, put it down in there. Babe, you got something you want to add on that?
I want to add to that is that the actions lead, feelings follow.
You can ask a question.
And so there
to
should
either
be,
one of us, pick one.
There should be an action. Your feelings, your decision, the I decided moment. And that's not something that anybody else could do for you. I had to decide I was going to forgive my mom. People challenged my feelings of hate and unforgiveness, and I had to make a decision. Okay, I am going to forgive her. But what happens when the person you want to forgive is gone? So
You
then,
mean physically not
when
here?
they're physically,
they die,
when they're dead or they're gone. And so I had to realize that my decision to forgive had nothing to do with someone else, because you want the feeling of them coming to you. I wanted them to be sorry, and I wanted them to, ask me for forgiveness, and I wanted them to. Sometimes if you're waiting on that, the feeling of somebody consoling you to make you decide to forgive, it's going to be really hard, because the people that I was like, well, I'll forgive them when they come to me and they tell me that they're sorry. No, I decide to forgive them because I am forgiven.
No matter what.
No matter what, it's not about them. Forgiveness takes one person. I decide to forgive you because I don't want my hard drive of my heart to get filled. You know how you have all those pictures in your phone? If you don't start deleting some of those pictures from your phone is going to say you cannot take any more pictures because it's overloaded. And so our hearts are the same way. It only takes so much. And so that I decided moment is for you to keep your heart right, and the feelings will follow your actions.
Nice. That's good. So AJ, what's the question you want to ask? You got one?
Okay, first, I want to just pull this one little piece.
Oh, go
it's
ahead.
really good. At the top of the paper it says purpose, and it says shift your mindset from justice to grace.
I love that.
Yeah.
Why that resonate with you?
I think because it kind of segues into what you said about what you kind of like ruminate on.
Meditate or ruminate.
That's one of my favorite
Yeah.
words. Don't
Don't
ruminate.
ruminate.
Don't ruminate.
I did love it when I tell you that man got
Are
some
you ruminate?
quotes.
Are you-
Yeah.
Are you ruminating?
Right.
Are you ruminating?
Because ruminating is focusing on and mulling over something that is negative. Meditating is thinking of the things that are good and pure and lovely and of good report.
That
So
sound
it's
like
grace.
that sound like that's in the Bible.
It is.
Not
Oh,
a head
okay.
scratch.
It is.
Okay. But go ahead, babe.
So ruminate
Go
makes you
ahead.
have grace, and ruminate makes you have what'd you say, Aaron?
It shifts your mindset.
Justice. No.
Yeah. Which I feel like, again, balance is important. There could be justice and you extend grace. I think with certain situations, it's not your job to extend justice for things. But I think just shifting your mindset, like when you said that about what you meditate on when it comes to forgiveness and the decision, not the feeling, I think that has a lot to do with it.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. The question
It's amazing how the things that you meditate manifest.
They
very
do.
much so.
They do.
But
I always say, I often
what do y'all
get
think?
what I expect.
Do you think what you meditate on manifests in your life, good or bad? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat.
Let us know.
What
Let
y'all
us know.
think?
Let us
Y'all
Let us
not
know y'all
chatting
there.
enough.
Y'all need
All
to.
I see is CJ. What's up, CJ?
Thank you, brother.
Hey, thank you for
Alana,
joining
we
us.
appreciate you for
We
hanging
appreciate
out
Oh,
with
my bad, Alana. My
Oh,
glasses, they old. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just I saw two letters.
We appreciate you guys hanging out
Thank
with
you
us.
for
But go ahead.
watching and sharing. Tell your friends about your friends.
Go ahead.
Oh, dang it, I lost it. Hold on, let me catch it.
It's written down in front. This is your
No,
filter.
I had a
This
thought.
is your
I had a
forgiveness
thought.
filter. That's what we're talking about. And we're gonna put these up on the in the comments.
Yes, it'll be-
so you'll have them there.
Yes.
That you can look at and kind of mull them over and share them with your friends and
Yes.
family.
So this is step 3 of
Step
the
3.
forgiveness.
I lost
These
it,
are
y'all.
these are basically
You don't know which one you want to ask?
No, it's not a question. It
Oh,
was
you had a
something,
comment?
Yeah. I'll circle back.
It'll
around.
come back.
okay.
It'll come back.
So these are basically the filters
question you
are
wanna-
really designed to help you shift your mindset. What are the things? It's like
Shift your
when you
mindset
see
from
things.
justice to grace.
Yes, I love that.
Go ahead. What you got? Which one you want to
Trying to
ask?
find it.
Okay.
It's lost in the sauce.
Oh,
It'll
Lord.
come back to you.
Dang, what was I gonna say? It was good. It was a gem, y'all.
But you want me to ask?
Yeah. Yo, that was lit.
Okay.
Okay. So, there's one on here that says forgiveness reflects the grace we've received in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know from you guys both perspectives because dad is like logical, mom's very creative. So when it comes to a logical standpoint, do you feel like that is something that, because you mentioned that you have to like process, because I'm the same way.
Right.
So you have to process and kind of figure it out. How do you feel like your relationship with Christ has helped you navigate that and lead into more of your emotion? And then, Shawty, how do you feel like that has helped you navigate more into your logic?
So for me, when I read that and I looked at how Christ was very process oriented, very logical, and especially when he was teaching in those things, when he came with whether it was a parable, when he was trying to convey a principle, he used logical things of the time to communicate things. So when it came to forgiveness, when I loved the woman at the well, when he talked about forgiveness for her, about being even in adultery, you know, and he said, go and sin no more. So I thought about that and I said, you know what? He wasn't just talking about it from a logical standpoint. That was something that was a tangible physical action that he actually did, and he literally just said, you know what, go. So that told me that sometimes you won't have time to process what you're going through to say, you know what, I have to look for the logic in this and make sense about what I see and what I feel. And sometimes I just have to go with, sometimes you're not going to feel like you either have given forgiveness or that you received it from a person, a situation, or circumstance. And it doesn't feel like, all you do is think about the logical side of things of, I got wronged. Somebody wronged me or a situation wronged me. And I'm feeling a certain kind of way about it. But when I have to look at it from the crisis side of things, and he says, you know, just forgive, just release this person, because just like Renee was talking about, it releases you, not the other person. The forgiveness is for me, because if not, I'm going to harbor some unforgiveness in my heart, and that thing takes root and it grows into something that manifests some very hazardous things, physically, mentally, and emotional things in your life. So that's how I would answer that.
You've been doing a good job of that, actually.
So,
I'm being so serious. You have.
Yeah.
I've noticed lately you kind of have like gone with the flow a lot more than normal.
yeah,
I'm proud of you for that.
I appreciate it. But yours, from the emotional side.
For the emotional side, for me, the person that helped me to really work through this was Gil's mom, because I loved and adored her. And when she got cancer, the thing that she said that really shook my world was, baby, life is too short to hold grudges, because holding grudges will kill you. She said, I believe the reason why I have cancer is because I have gone my whole life holding grudges. She said, forgiveness is like medicine, and it's so much better for you. And so for me, that was a practical way that God used a spiritual principle with someone that I knew to help me realize, oh, this ain't no joke. This stuff that it's in the spirit, it manifests in your body. And so that was the way that it helped me to understand that, okay, yeah, it's spiritual, but it's also practical.
Wow, that's good. That's good.
She was that girl.
So,
I mean, she still is that girl.
Yeah.
so Renee gets to ask her question now. So while she's thinking about that, we want to say thank you guys for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
You know, we've been doing this for these lives for a little while now, and this is the very first time our daughter has decided to join us. She just happened to be in town right now, and we coaxed her into coming on live. So not only we y'all hear us talk about her.
I'm here because
Y'all hear us talk about her all the time.
She
Now
said
y'all
she
can put a
wanted to be
face
here.
with the
Yeah.
person, AJ. So we're gonna let Renee ask a question. This is talking about your forgiveness
This
filter.
is step 3. Remember, we have step 5. Stay to the end. That's the most important part.
So we're gonna get to it. So what's your
Okay.
question you want to ask her?
So this is the part. This is a filter that you have to be mindful of.
Your forgiveness filter.
Forgiveness is often repeated, not all at once. One of the things to me that means is How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
I wonder what seasonings you would put on the elephant.
So goofy. But it's understanding.
Sorry, I was a chef before I was a truck driver.
Yeah. So
Now I wanna try elephant.
forgiveness is not just, oh, I forgive all of these things. It's like a little bit at a time. Okay? Like for me, I forgave. I'm a radical personality. So when I forgave with a big old brush when I should have used a smaller brush. Because forgiveness, while it may be, it's not something that someone has to earn, but it also, your trust has to be earned. So when you understand that forgiveness is not all at once, it's a little at a time, give yourself grace and understand that, okay, I can forgive this, but I may not be ready to forgive that. And so just understand that forgiveness is something you have to do often, but it's not all at once.
You want to add a comment to that?
Yeah.
I felt it. I felt the disturbance in the force. Go ahead, say it. It was radiating. It was radiating off of her.
Come
I
on,
felt
Mama,
it. Go
come
ahead.
on.
Yeah, he does that all the time. I'll be on the road and he'll call me. He'll be like, "I feel disturbance in the
Disturbance
forest."
in the
Like,
forest.
we better be superheroes. Wakanda forever. Okay, what I was gonna say is to circle with the elephant thing, something that like registered in my brain that helps me. One thing, and when I tell y'all, when I say this, they're gonna like. Laundry is the bane of my existence.
Me too.
See? So
It's the devil.
I've learned, very much so, I've learned that like when I have a ton of it, I won't do nothing. It'll just sit there.
Mm-hmm.
But like you were saying with the elephant, if I do small little loads,
Yes.
I do a load every day. I make sure I wash, fold, put it away.
Mm-hmm.
So it holds me accountable. And then I also don't get a whole bunch to where I get overwhelmed and I don't want to do any of it. So I think that segues like kind of similar to like the elephant thing.
Yeah.
That maybe might help. Yeah, like
Yeah.
the way my brains work, maybe somebody else's brain is that way. If you do it small batches, start with like the important stuff. You know you're gonna need some socks, underwear, and a brassiere.
Right.
So not brassiere. Oh my gosh, I'm so old.
It's the old age.
It's the old age.
Yeah.
But you know you're gonna need undergarments. So start with the things that's closest to your heart, closest to you. Start with that load. Wash, fold, put it away. And of course you're gonna wear it, so it's gonna get dirty sometimes. But you still do it in small batches. And then that helps you kind of keep it in order.
So in other words,
It-
you're saying is the closest relationship like your parents,
Mm-hmm.
then your siblings, then your aunts, then your uncles, then your spouse. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
kind of like the elephant without the seasoning.
So, go ahead.
And it should be the thing that when Erin was little, what we used to do when she was little was I was like, okay, it's tonight. We only have today. We always talk about that. All your cool points are gone at the end
At
of the
midnight.
day.
They expire.
Mine roll over.
No, they don't. They don't roll over. He talked about that.
This
on
ain't
Sunday.
this old
It don't
cell
roll
phone.
over.
Ain't
It
no
don't roll
rollover
over.
minutes here.
It's in.
Y'all know what rollover minutes
No,
are.
no,
but
no
I'm
such
sorry.
thing as rollover. So every day you need to forgive and you need to ask for forgiveness.
Yes.
So to me, if I think about that, like what you just said, Aaron, we need to ask for forgiveness and forgive every day. Every day we need to check ourselves and say, okay, who do I need to forgive? Who do I need to ask for forgiveness for?
Do y'all need to forgive somebody? I love this quote, the question that Renee asked, and you ask it to yourself and put it in the comments. Forgiveness is often repeated, not once and done.
Yes.
It's often repeated, not once and done. And what came to my mind when she read that and asked that question was trust. When you have been audited against, as the Bible calls it, when somebody has offended you or done something to you that requires your forgiveness, sometimes it takes time for that trust to build back up. And you are actually going to have to be thinking about, I can't hold that offense against this person. If they've asked you for forgiveness, I have to let it go. You have to let it go. You can't hold it in your back pocket. And then when something else come up and you say, see, you're doing it again. You know what? You can't do that because that means you really didn't forgive in the first place.
Because once you wash your clothes, fold them, and put them away, guess what? They're clean. You start all over again with clean clothes.
Oh, before we go to number 4, can I tell a funny story?
Yeah, go
Yes.
ahead.
About you forgiving me?
Uh-oh, go ahead.
I'm just.
I know where this, I have no idea where this is going, y'all, but go ahead.
I don't remember what age I was.
Okay.
I remember we were in the house.
Mhm.
My dad got certain snacks that he likes. You know where I'm going with this?
No.
Oh, I know what it was.
Fig Newtons.
I knew it.
Okay.
knew it.
Okay. Go ahead. Tell them the story about the Fig Newton. Put it in the chat. What's your favorite snack? I'm sorry, but go ahead.
So he told me I could have one, right?
Okay, yeah.
He told me I could have a specific number of fig Newtons. I was a fat kid, y'all. I was greedy. Okay, I used to hide under the table and eat butter. I'm just greedy, just greedy. I remember I ate more than one fig Newton. This is part of the reason why I don't lie too, because it really struck a nerve. But I ate more than one or something, and I remember my dad was like, "I forgive you, but you broke my trust." And I don't know why that just
over a fig Newton.
Over a fig. No, I think you were just.
It was a principle.
Yeah,
y'all.
yeah. And so now I remember, like, if I say I'm gonna do something, I do it. But at the same time, you share all your snacks with me now. You ain't even worried about the fig Newton.
But it taught you a valuable lesson.
The principle. Yeah, and that's so important. So thanks for sharing that with me. But
I know you don't.
you know what? No.
The two of them have really bad memories.
Remember the important
Yeah,
stuff, right?
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's fine.
So as we've gone through this lesson that we've been talking about, we actually have shared with you some of our things that we have needed to forgiveness on, things that we need to forgive others for. We talked about that. We actually talk about truth talk, where you actually, AJ mentioned it about being hot. That's so important. Y'all have seen that and heard that multiple times on multiple episodes. It's amazing how it's definitely applicable in every situation, in most circumstances, that you always got to be hot. We just shared with you some of the forgiveness filters, but what do you do when it's time to let it go?
Let it go.
Let it go.
Don't sing that song, y'all. Y'all know we don't want no copyright infringements. We don't want
that's right.
We
I don't know what I'm singing.
Yeah, so
Unless you're a real Disney fan, you don't know.
so we'll be saying about let it go. This is a prayer that Renee found that we want to share with you guys when it comes to, okay, I've forgiven this person, I've been forgiven, but sometimes you just have to pray through some stuff, y'all.
Amen.
Sometimes you just have to pray when things are going opposite way. You want to read it or you want me to read it? Or you want to read it? Okay, we'll let AJ read it. So this is a prayer that we are going to put up on the site that talks about prayer when it talks about forgiveness. So this is a prayer for you guys who have a little bit of unforgiveness that you need to work on, ask for forgiveness, or receive it.
And it's understanding that everything that is good, it requires work. And to help you to understand that forgiveness is not just, oh, I just forget it. It's help you to kind of have a way to kind of work through the process of it and realizing that it's some stuff you got to do.
Yes.
All right, y'all, not too much because words be getting jumbled in my head. So, you know what I'm saying?
Just read what you see.
That'd be the problem.
So pray with us right now.
Typical. Okay. Father God, I choose to forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you forgave me. I release the weight of this offense. See, I told y'all. I release the weight of this offense. I surrender the pain and trust you to heal my heart. I receive your peace in Jesus' name.
See, y'all, that's simple.
Simple prayer.
But it's very powerful when you think about those words because it's all for you.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to say, you know what, there's some areas and some things that I need to really meditate on and ask for forgiveness for, but also release other people for, because it's putting a weight on you.
Yeah.
There's a part on here that says optional, but I'm going to challenge y'all.
Okay, go ahead.
What
Are you going to challenge
Community.
them? The rich relationship.
Rich fam.
Now, we had no idea this was coming, y'all. So she's a guest, so y'all have to.
And it's my birthday week, so you got to do what I say.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
So
you can
go ahead.
do what you want. But it says it's optional to tear up the paper and burn it safely or throw it away as a symbolic act. I'm like a little
burn
water
it
baby,
up.
so yeah, I mean safely. You can burn it, tear it, but I challenge y'all to do that because sometimes doing like the physical act of releasing things, I know for me has really helped. So it says optional, but I would like to retract the word optional.
And so take what you wrote down and burn it up. Because a part of letting go
be safe though.
Yeah, don't burn it. Don't
do it
do
over
it in
the
the
toilet.
house.
Do it outside. Or you can flush it down the toilet too.
This is that disclaimer.
You can tear it up.
This is that disclaimer.
Don't say
they're not responsible for anything you may or may not burn up. Be smart.
But that's why it was important to put it on a piece of paper, because then that way, that's another step of you saying, okay, I'm going to let this go.
Yes.
Forgiveness does not mean you're going to forget. We're not talking about you're going to lose your mind. You're going to remember, but you're not going to respond based on what happened.
Yep.
And so then step 5.
This is the last one, y'all. We have gone almost an hour. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us for so much. You know, time flies. So, but we have some homework for y'all. This is something that you are actually going to have to apply. How do you take all this and make it work do that inward journey for yourself to say, you know what? Now, how do I take this and put it into action? Here are 4 things that you can do. And if you don't get them right now, we're going to put them in the comments that you can actually look. These are things that you can actually reflect upon. What is one way that you can show more grace this week to somebody?
Wow.
What is one way that you can show grace to someone that you either need to forgive or that you can just give them grace for this week? How do you feel when you forgive?
When you are forgiven.
How do you feel when you are forgiven?
You feel good. You feel free. You feel light.
What does holding on to unforgiveness cost you?
Your peace, your health, your state of mind, and it affects your attitude, your disposition. It makes you heavy.
And then the last thing, and that's why we did this live session with you guys, is talks about how can you help others walk out a daily of forgiveness. How can you help somebody else work on their unforgiveness? And that's why we do this live. So we appreciate you guys hanging out with us for this hour. We went a little bit over, but because we had a special guest.
Special guest, AJ.
AJ.
Okay, y'all, since I'm a special guest and it's my birthday, it already passed. But the person that shares his live the most, they don't know I'm doing this either, so I'm really putting them on the
I'm
spot.
sitting here like,
They gonna get a free Rich Relationship t-shirt
Uh-oh.
sent to them.
Uh-oh.
Wait, do we have t-shirts?
Yeah,
Yes,
you got
we
a
do.
few.
Yeah.
See, I got y'all.
See,
Tap in with me.
giving the
Yeah,
stuff
So
away,
the
y'all.
person that
But it's
Only
okay.
Child
It's
syndrome.
but it's all good.
Person that shares the live most. Okay, I'll pay for the shipping.
Okay.
Okay, we got you.
No, I'm just kidding. I got a job. I'll pay for the shipping. Person that shares the live the most gets a free Rich Relationship
How about a book?
t-shirt. They get a whole care package.
Oh.
Okay.
It's cancer
Ooh.
season. My dad's birthday's coming up.
Yeah.
We turn it up.
She,
They get
she
the whole
giving y'all
package.
care, but we're going to give you guys the latest book
The book,
and
the
a
cup,
t-shirt
a
and a
t-shirt.
cup.
And
Man, what
Yeah.
else?
That's a good idea, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
So she just hooked y'all up. So share it. And
Like.
y'all got to this weekend Saturday.
No, y'all got to my dad's birthday, July 18th.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
Okay, that's good.
That's
Good
enough time,
job,
right?
Mama.
Okay. Didn't know this was coming, y'all. So
I'm
y'all
rolling
got
off
to, and
right
today is
off
the
win.
7th. Today is the 7th.
That gives y'all plenty of time.
So y'all got 11 days to share it, and whoever shares it the most, we're gonna actually say it on our next live
Yes.
or the live after my birthday,
Yes.
and we're gonna mail it out to you and everything—a T-shirt, a cup,
Cup.
a book, all the stuff, all the things.
All the things.
And
All
I'm
the
paying for the
things.
shipment, so y'all better do it.
So,
I'm on a fixed income.
anything else you want to say?
I just want to say,
Since she giving all our stuff away.
AJ, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for representing the next generation.
The millennials,
Thank you.
they
for-
get a
Heard that,
bad
y'all.
rep.
Yeah. Yes. We are appreciative of you guys who are watching now, who are going to watch this later. And we just want to help you to understand that while forgiveness is not a game, sometimes when you take something heavy and make it a game, it makes it easier to kind of work through it. So now when you say, well, how do I forgive? You got a whole video to show you the steps that you need to take.
Yes.
It's not magic. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes work, and it takes you being intentional, and you asking for forgiveness, and you forgiving. But first, you got to forgive yourself.
And something y'all tell me all the time, you got to do it for yourself. You ain't got to do it by yourself.
Ooh.
I
That's
told
a
you I
good,
got all the quotes.
that's a
Yes,
good
you do.
shout out. That's
Yeah,
a good shout out.
yeah.
So,
So
Yeah.
that's
thank
why
you
y'all got
guys for
community.
hanging out with us.
We love you.
We love you. Remember, guys, we are stronger together.
And you
Yeah.
are more than enough.
And my quote, eat some food, drink some water.
Later.
Yes.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.